Welcome to HearFirst. Let's get going with today's top stories. Top 5 news stories from India. 1. India-Pakistan tensions escalate after Pahalgam attack. Tensions between India and Pakistan have intensified following a deadly attack on tourists in Pahalgam, Jammu and Kashmir, which left 26 people dead. In response, India has temporarily closed 48 of the 87 government-authorized tourist resorts in the region as a safety precaution. India accuses Pakistan of supporting the militant group responsible for the massacre, while Pakistan denies involvement. The incident has led to retaliatory diplomatic actions, including visa cancellations, withdrawal of diplomats, and border closures. Cross-border skirmishes have intensified along the line of control, and Pakistani officials claim to have downed an Indian spy drone in their territory. The violence and subsequent restrictions have devastated the local tourism industry, with over 1 million cancellations reported and tourists fleeing the area. 2. Indian forces crack down in Kashmir. Following attack. Following the Pahalgam attack, Indian security forces have enforced a severe crackdown across the region. In villages like Rupee, homes of alleged attackers have been demolished, despite denials from their families. The government cites the need to dismantle terrorist infrastructure, though critics argue this amounts to collective punishment. The incident sparked an unprecedented wave of public mourning and condemnation from Kashmiris, highlighting a desire for peace amid decades of conflict. However, the aggressive military response, including mass detentions and house raids, has instilled widespread fear among civilians. Political tensions have escalated, with threats of further action against Pakistan and backlash against Kashmiri Muslims across India. Rights groups continue to raise concerns over abuses, cautioning that without addressing Kashmiris' lived experiences and calls for justice, the cycle of violence and oppression will persist. 3. India's economic growth. Outlook faces risks. India's economic growth outlook for the fiscal year 2025-26 faces significant risks due to escalating trade tensions and geopolitical uncertainties, according to a report from the Ministry of Finance. These challenges may disrupt supply chains and increase prices, potentially hindering private sector investment. The International Monetary Fund, IMF, recently downgraded India's growth forecast from 6.5% to 6.2%, citing similar concerns. The report urged private companies and policymakers to remain vigilant and take immediate action to mitigate risks. It also stated that the government's plan to reduce public debt would enhance domestic savings and support private investment, thereby reinforcing economic growth. Proactive measures are especially crucial during uncertain periods, presenting them as a critical opportunity for strategic action. 4. Rupee volatility peaks amid geopolitical jitters. On April 29, 2025, the Indian rupee experienced heightened volatility due to escalating geopolitical tensions between India and Pakistan, following the deadly militant attack on tourists in Kashmir. This anxiety led to a spike in the rupee's one-month implied volatility, reaching 5.5%, the highest since March 2023. The rupee initially hit a year-to-date high of 84.95 per US dollar, but later dropped to a low of 85.3875, ending the day 0.3% weaker at 85.2625. In contrast, regional currencies like China's yuan and the Malaysian ringgit strengthened amid easing global trade tensions. Analysts warned that further geopolitical escalation could push the rupee to 85.70. 5. Indian electronics manufacturers capitalize on US tariffs. Indian electronics manufacturers are rapidly capitalizing on a unique opportunity presented by former US President Trump's tariffs, which have driven companies like Apple and HP to shift production to India. Apple plans to move all iPhone production for the US market to India, while HP aims to double its local production, boosted by India's Production-Linked Incentive (PLI) scheme. Companies such as Dixon Technologies, PG Electroplast, Avalon Technologies, and Keynes Technologies have seen significant stock price increases due to strong order books and rising global demand. However, sustaining this growth hinges on their ability to help clients diversify supply chains amid ongoing trade tensions and logistical challenges in shifting production back to the US. So Top 5 Global News Stories 6. UN Court examines Israel's humanitarian obligations. The United Nations Top Court has begun hearings to assess Israel's responsibilities in ensuring and facilitating humanitarian aid to Palestinians. This move comes amid ongoing conflicts in the region, with the court aiming to determine the extent of Israel's obligations under international law to provide necessary assistance to affected Palestinian populations. The proceedings may have significant implications for Israel's future within the world body. 7. Canada's Liberal Party wins federal election. Canada's Liberal Party, led by Mark Carney, has secured victory in the federal election, extending their decade of rule by another 5 years. The election was dominated by issues related to trade tensions with the US, with Carney accusing President Trump of threatening Canadian sovereignty. The Conservatives, led by Pierre Poilievre, suffered significant losses, with Poilievre set to lose his seat. The outcome reflects Canadians' preference for stability amid global uncertainties. 8. Trump's first 100 days of second term, marked by controversy. As President Donald Trump marks the first 100 days of his second term, his administration has implemented dramatic and controversial changes impacting both domestic and foreign policy. Domestically, Trump has pushed the boundaries of executive power, faced criticism for firing tens of thousands of federal workers, and withheld over $436 billion in congressionally approved funding. His approval rating stands at a record low of 39%, with the majority of Americans fearing economic decline due to his policies. On the international front, Trump has strained traditional alliances, cut aid to Ukraine, imposed disruptive tariffs, and pursued an isolationist America First agenda. To commemorate the milestone, Trump will host a rally in Michigan. 9. Israeli airstrike hits Beirut suburb amid ceasefire. An Israeli airstrike targeted a suburb in southern Beirut, destroying storage sites housing precision missiles belonging to a militant group. The attack occurred despite an existing ceasefire with Hezbollah, raising concerns about escalating tensions in the region. The Israeli army stated that the strike was necessary to prevent future attacks, while Hezbollah has yet to respond. 10. Papal conclave to begin, May 7th, following Pope Francis's death. Following the death of Pope Francis at the age of 88, the Catholic Church is set to begin the papal conclave on May 7th to elect a new pope. The conclave will be held in the Sistine Chapel, with 135 cardinal electors from around the world participating in the selection process. The Church faces the task of choosing a leader who can address contemporary challenges and guide the global Catholic community. To stay tuned to Hear First for more updates on these developing stories. Thank you for listening to Hear First.